Oh, that is so cool. Hello again, it's DrumBoyReadsSlow. It is Wednesday, December the 17th, 2025, and I just got back from the comic book store. Ooh, I got some good goodies to show you, but that's not all today. Hey, we're doing a multifaceted show. I'm gonna let them take it away, but here's the timestamps if you want to jump around. There's gonna be several things covered. But yeah, roll tape. First up, we're going to run through today's December 17th comic haul. Then we're moving over to last week's hottest comics to give them a score and a review, and a few I might have missed from prior weeks. And from there, it's our main feature, the absolute powerhouse from David Pepose in the Adjoined Universe, powered by the mind of Joe Casey, featuring Johnny Quest, Space Ghost, and a whole lot of comic book goodness. And if you'll join us, we have a bonus reliving the unboxing of the Kickstarter-fueled SKYBOUND Til All Are One Transformers Compendium box set. This is awesome. You gotta stick around for that one. All right, so now that you heard about the Drum Boy Read Slow weekly show lineup here, let's jump into what I brought back from the comic book store today. We'll start like always with the big books, magazine print. This is a reprint of classic Savage Sword of Conan. I'm really interested in these. From DC Black Label, we have Batman, The Second Night. This is issue 2, or book 2, I should say. I still haven't checked out issue 1. I mainly get this for somebody else, but I will be checking it out. Our third big book would be from Distillery, that is Endeavor. I read issue 1 of this. I thought it was really cool. I'm really looking forward to where it goes from there. Kaya is one of those books, you know, I haven't read it in a while, but what I did read was really good. It had a lot of heart. I'm not going to say I connected with it, you know, super heavily, but I definitely have a mindset to get back to it at some point, and I've collected every single issue in some format or another. I keep seeing this coming out. It was on break for a while. I had read everything up to the break. Rick Remender is one of my guys. I love The Sacrificers. This is one of the most original comics I've ever read, at least as far as the character designs. Just some good stuff. I highly recommend it if you are not reading it. It's issue 18 here, so it's not that much to catch up on. I'm up to issue 11 on this. I haven't quite gotten to the end of that second arc, but I am looking forward to getting caught up probably this week. This was one of the few Age of Revelation titles I was intending to complete. Shot in the dark on this one. I still haven't been able to begin this particular title. All right, this is one I have started. I do have a few issues to get caught up on, but for me, you know, I guess it kind of almost reads like the attached or I don't know. It's like a card game or a tabletop game of some sort. I actually do want to eventually try and play it, but in any regard, Exquisite Corpses is a pretty easy read. If a little bit, you know, direct, it's a pretty easy read. Speaking of easy reads, this wasn't a hard one to get into. I'm already a fan of The Walking Dead, but to be honest with you, you know what? This is really it started out pretty unique, but then it kind of, you know, the world expanded a little bit, so it does feel like Walking Dead worship, but it's good. It flows easy. It's easy reading, you know, and not every book coming out lately is that. So I'm gonna go ahead and complete this miniseries. I'm looking forward to reading this issue, and yeah, definitely one to catch up on if you can. This is one of those big read-throughs that I have been putting off and putting off and putting off, but it's got to get done before the year is up. I want to put it on, or rank it in my list of the top books of 2025. Yes, I'm going to be lame and do one of those, but I gotta say, it's a lot of fun to think about, and this is one of those books I've been compiling for quite a while now. I usually live to regret grabbing books like these, but what the hey. I haven't had time to read it yet, but this would be today's feature book. I've read every other issue up to this one, and whew, do I have some nice things to get off my chest on this one. Someone in the comments, please tell me if Blade Runner is any good. Any of the titles. I've been getting it pulled because I'm a fan of the movie, but I don't know about these ones. Absolute Flash. I did a feature on this book. It was, you know, kind of like a C+ to a B in my eyes. Jeff Lemire did a solid job, but if you aren't, you know, buying the books, you know, and like kind of letting them stack up and then reading them all at once, you might not really have a good time with this one. That's just kind of my honest assessment. I guess Dan Waters is still writing this. I say that because I read about 3 issues into his run, and I put it back on the shelf for the time being. I do like Nightwing. I do like its current iteration. Yeah, I mean, it's a good book. It hasn't been my first pull. Haven't been able to start this title yet, but I'm glad to be hearing good things kind of across the board about it, because you know, having an excuse to buy a book with sexy women on the cover is every comic lover's dream, I think. You been keeping up? I have been a fan of this Dick Tracy run, but I will admit I only read 1 through 7 so far, so I got about half the series in. But you know what? It's just pretty much on the nose. A little bit bloodier than, you know, the Dick Tracy we remember from the newspaper. But this is, yeah, I mean, this is pretty good. Kaisei Universe, there's going to be a big read-through of all the titles coming up really soon. I want to include this on my 2025 list. And the last one of these Age of Revelation books I have to tolerate getting. While I'm on the topic of the team behind Ice Cream Man from Image Comics, I am going to say I am still salty that I didn't have a chance to grab that deck of card issue. But anyway, this is that team, but applied to a Superman story, and this is the final issue of that. I'm excited to finally just go ahead and read this real quick. I got through issue 1, and then I kind of stopped there just to let it build up. I didn't know it was going to take this long, otherwise I would have probably just read each issue one at a time when they came out. And then just the latest Walking Dead reprint in color. Wow, they're getting pretty close to the end there. There's something about getting home and just having all those new comics to, even if you just sit there and shuffle them like a deck and just check out those covers over and over, it just gets my mind ticking. But anyway, so getting to last week's haul and some of the bigger comics that I had a chance to read and get caught up on the title. First up, we're going to have the big one from last week, which was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, issue 13. I ended up buying 3 issues, one for me, one for a friend, and one blind bag, and they all ended up being cover A. But yeah, so we have Gene Luen Yang and Freddie E. Williams and Andrew Dahlhaus as the new creative team on this. I gotta say, it's, you know, pretty much picking up where the last title left off. I did actually have to read issue 12. I hadn't completed that arc yet. To be honest, that issue just kind of like felt like a downturn. But yeah, issue 13 definitely picked things back up. This might be the perfect creative team outside of just, there's certain aspects to the artwork that are a little bit cartoonier than I wanted. But then again, I kind of realized it was gearing more towards the children's cartoon that I liked. So actually, I'm pretty intrigued here by what they're doing. I'm going to give this issue, if we're going to rate it out of 5, I'm going to give this issue a solid 4. Up next was one of my absolute favorites from last week, Transformers issue 27. Again, this was kind of a situation where I didn't really factor them into my picks for the week. If you want to know, my picks for last week were Absolute Batman issue 15 with the Joker and Inferno Hulk issue 2. But Transformers is a title I read up to issue 24, and I hadn't actually caught up. So I went ahead and got 3 covers from issue 27. I did the same for 26. Just the cover A for issue 25 here. So I had the pleasure of actually getting to read all 3 issues back to back, and I gotta say, the art was jarring for about, the art change I should say, because the first couple of pages, I mean this is old news by now, but it remained Richard Corona for a few pages in issue 25 when it picked back up with the new team. But outside of that jarring moment for about a page or two, this comic literally just full steam ahead, full on Transformers. It's not exactly Daniel Warren Johnson, but it's close. It's the spirit. This is exactly what I needed. This is the confidence builder. 27 was a 5 out of 5, 26 was a 5 out of 5, and 25 was a 5 out of 5. Perfect comic books. Transformers continues to be one of the examples of a perfect comic book in the current era. Also, I'm a Transformers mark. Geiger, issue 19, continues to feel gritty and visceral. Not a lot of story happens in each issue. Not a lot of events, I should say. But the actual, like, depth of, like, what you get from, like, you get so many details out of it. But this was one of those issues where a bunch of things did happen. It seemed fast-paced. And to be honest with you, they still kept this dystopian society. They kept building on it. It keeps getting closer and closer to something like The Walking Dead to me. But this is a superhero comic, an alternative superhero comic, but nonetheless a superhero comic that continues to deliver. The Ghost Machine universe absolutely rules. You gotta check it out. Almost all their titles are excellent. I've been catching up on everything now, but the main three, you can count on those to be a wonderful addition to your collection. I'm gonna go ahead and give this issue about I'm gonna give it like a 3.75 though, because this wasn't the best issue I've ever read of Geiger, but it had a cool you can't skip this issue. Something big happens, and if you've been waiting for something big in the unnamed universe, here you go. From Bad Idea, I heard this book got hyped up, so I bought it last week, and to be honest with you, it felt a little Gran Torino to me with a pastor twist. But he's not an old man. To be honest, outside of just basically, fending for himself mostly with his bare hands, and kind of being, too forgiving. How often do we see it in our comics where the hero is like willing to try and save the villain before, so that this is kind of what, but to be honest with you, it was all right. I mean, it's a story where, a priest gets a confessional from a big, mob boss, and then, the mob boss ends up, never having needed to give the confessional because he's not dying anymore, and you can kind of guess where it goes from there, but, yeah, I mean, what can I say? It just was like middle of the road for me, so I'm gonna give it a 2.5 out of 5. But I might pick up a issue 2. I mean, it does tick a lot of my boxes, so I got to give it that. I'm also just gonna weigh in on 2 that I hadn't had a chance to weigh in on because I've been just so backed up with reading, trying to get through entire runs really fast. But I believe it was 2 weeks ago this came out. This was supposed to be a giant size issue one shot of Criminal with Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. This was fun. I mean, I gotta say, I definitely like the newsprint paper for one thing. It fit the coloring and all the art of the book very well. I'm gonna show you a little of this art up close. I mean, there's just a cool style to it. Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's your typical, crime pulp. Kind of had me thinking like Pulp Fiction and stuff like that, where you kind of see like the human side to these dark minded people in society. And then just another catch-up book. I finally got to Batman Deadpool, the one shot that DC did, and I gotta say, I that's gotta be my catchphrase. I gotta say, I like the Batman Deadpool story. I was a little skeptical at first, but I definitely enjoyed their at least this take on their dynamic. The extras in the back, I really enjoyed the John Constantine Hellblazer and Doctor Strange mashup. That was a lot of fun for me to read that, and to see it kind of happen from the DC perspective was pretty cool. And they definitely put Doctor Strange over big on that one. I really liked that. I'm glad I got this more because of that than the actual main title. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and give Criminal like a 4. If you're never gonna read another criminal book, and I'll go ahead and give Batman and Deadpool, that was darn close to a 5, but let's go ahead and we'll just give it a 4 as well. So that's it for the catch-up stuff from last week and my favorite books from last week. Let's get into the main feature so we can get talking about Space Ghost, so we can get through that, and then we can relive my unboxing of the Transformers Till All Are One Decepticon themed compendium set that I got. I bought it on the Kickstarter last spring. It finally came. Oh man, wait until you see that unboxing. All right, so our main feature. So today we're going to be discussing the powerhouse that has been Space Ghost, as well as some coverage on a tie-in title that you don't necessarily have to, invest in on, but it's 2 titles really quickly. We have a mini-series by Johnny Quest. This is a series done by Joe Casey. He's a writer I'm going to be doing a feature on very soon. And then we also have a series here called Space Quest, where you can see it's Johnny Quest and Space Ghost. And this was a 4-parter. That was actually a 2025 release, and I believe the annual and a little bit of Volume 1 of Space Ghost. Anyway, this ends up getting a little bit confusing, especially since the main Space Ghost title is doing something that I don't think any other title is currently doing right now. They get up to 12 issues, and they go, that's a volume, and then they're resetting to issue 1. Even though the team isn't changing, the story is continuous. So what I want to do here is I wanted to actually first break down the reading order, so that someone that isn't actually privy to this book, they've been seeing it on the shelf, but they haven't been collecting it. Let me give you an idea of the reading order so it doesn't get too confusing. You can pretty much go through issues of Volume 1, 1 through 12, and then go ahead and read Space Ghost Annual. And if you choose to, you can definitely inject the what you want to do. Whoops, out of order. You can inject the Johnny Quest 1 through 5, and then jump directly over to Space Quest 1 through 4, and it fits in really nice after the annual, which kind of acts as an issue 13 to the first 12 issues. And then you can the current volume, we just had issue 6 drop today, as you saw earlier in the video. Now you can actually do the Johnny Quest and the Space Quest thing. You can chuck that off all the way to the end if you want. That's just my suggested reading order, but you definitely want to do the annual after the first issue 12. All right. Anyway, so that's the suggested reading order to help you get caught up. As far as the experience, let's get into the experience overall with reading this book as like just a general comic experience. You can literally pick up any title except maybe, you can pick up any issue of this main Space Ghost title, I should say. I want to correct that. You can pick up any one of those, 1 through 12 or 1 through 6. And, well, I can't speak for 6 yet, but historically, up to 5, every single issue can stand alone on its own or be part of the continuous story. It definitely has that old school, Hanna-Barbera feel, that everything is very simple in Space Ghost world, and things just seem to always get wrapped up in that Hanna-Barbera way. Everything is very self-contained, but there is a continuous story, and the stakes here are real. The heartfelt issues are real. We'll get into that. But essentially, as far as, getting a taste, or if you started the title and you stopped and you're hearing this review and you want to pick it back up, any point you can just jump in and you will get filled in. You will get enough information, and you will still have a issue-centric story to enjoy within that issue. And then it'll be green grass from there for sure. This is not a confusing book to get into. Morality very high in it. This is not the type of book where characters are being killed off mercilessly or disappearing. A lot of well, anyway, we all have memories of Space Ghost if you know the name. As far as the side titles, the Joe Casey work, that is better taken as just a solid a solid sitting. I will say that. Awesome, by the way. They're awesome. Johnny Quest, the 5-issue miniseries, awesome stuff. Amazing. I mean, this is like fundamental comic book writing. What made like the absolute best of the best good back in the old day that everyone's complaining we don't have anymore. That was right there. Joe Casey did a masterwork in that book. He brought me right in. But the follow-up, the Space Quest, was actually exceptional as well. And I, again, really appreciated choking that one down in one sitting, because I don't know if I would have liked it, even separating them by a week. So that, and I'm not saying I wouldn't have liked it. I wouldn't have liked it as much. With Space Ghost, though, I could read one every year, and I'd still get something out of it. So that's the reading experience. I don't want to prattle on about that. With the next thing kind of going in on is, like, what is the content actually like? Well, we have Space Ghost kind of being a very stoic character, very Bruce Wayne-y, and then you can go ahead and just take, like, Kal-El from the current absolute Superman universe. If you don't know what he's like, well, basically go look at Space Ghost. He's a lot like that. He can absorb powers. He can shoot out projectiles out of his hands. He's still got the laser eyes. I mean, Kal-El's pretty impervious to everything, and apparently so is Space Ghost. So you got like a combo of Batman and Superman fused in one. The morality of both of them fused into one as well, because the man behind the mask, Dax, first name Dax, is just a character of such integrity and a man of such integrity. Human life and the lives of the innocents are his refuge in life. He lost his family. He saw his homeworld destroyed. It is now called Ghost Planet. I actually forgot the name of the original name of the planet. I should have done that. But anyway, you have this very morally high. There's a high focus on the morality factor here. This central theme behind comics that we're originally supposed to uphold, and you'll definitely get that old school feel from here. So let's get me off that track so I can talk about something else about it. Is that the Jan and Jace factor? They were a big proponent of what made the cartoon series for me fun. I love the sidekick aspect. But these guys aren't just sidekicks. They kick ass, okay? They really do. They're kind of like two Robins with Batman. And there's also, and I know I'm like subconsciously stealing something I heard from another review channel. And I was kind of like, that actually sounds awesome. But there's a little bit of like he's more useful than Inspector Gadget, obviously. But you'll see a lot of like Space Ghost being like, let me handle the big part, and he goes off, and sometimes like the panels are kind of funny because he's in like a giant crab claw going ugh, like a lot, and it looks like he's getting his butt kicked, and then meanwhile Jan and Jace are like kind of like they're like I forgot Inspector Gadget's his niece and the dog, but the they're the ones really like solving how to fix things, and then they end up doing something that gives Space Ghost just a little bit of an edge, and so it's always like a team effort, and that's awesome. That's awesome. The dynamic between them becoming a family. I don't want to ruin it because there's just so many cool aspects to this little family dynamic. David Pepose knows how to write a comic book, and he knows how to make you feel good. He knows how to load it to the brim with heart, but he also knows how to make it feel like what's the best comparison I can think of? Back in the 80s and 90s, it was those action movies where the main character was just like, you just couldn't help but pump your fist because you knew he was gonna bust in and always win. Or like in pro wrestling, John Cena, 5 moves to death. Well, Space Ghost, he's a little bit more inventive than that, but it's like I mentioned, it's like Superman. He's definitely he's the good guy and he's gonna win. But the stakes seem especially high as we're entering now the second volume. Very much so, the enemies are starting to get a little bit more. How should I say, dangerous. Even though some of the memorable favorites were what was featured in Volume 1, with Zorak being like the most fearsome of them all, we have kind of a new dynamic going into part 2 here. That is, it's a little bit more foreboding and a little bit less of the, you know, building up the origin story and kind of, you know, resolving the past, you know, for some characters in volume 1. Now it's more about, okay, now what's the next threat? So that's, and it's building up beautifully. The artwork and all these issues is just amazing. What can I say? Space Ghost is a winner on all levels. I gotta say, as a feature, this feels kind of bland for me to be like, you know, spelling it out this way, but I gotta say, you know, this caught me off guard. I never expected Space Ghost, corny old Space Ghost, to be one of my favorite titles, but this is definitely a lock. The Johnny Quest stuff as well. Anything that Joe Casey touches, really. You're gonna wanna, you know, get in on this before it gets too deep. But anyhow, so that's the feature. So let's get to that unboxing of Transformers. All right, we are here live in my living room. I am about to do an unboxing of my new Transformers Till We Are All One Decepticon themed compendium box set that just got to me. I funded this through Kickstarter earlier in the spring. This was my Christmas gift to myself. So let's bust into this thing. So excited. Let's see. All right, there's gonna be some goodies in here. Let's see. That's cool, like a pin. All right. Oh, sweet. A patch. A Decepticon patch. I love it. What is this? Is this some kind of spec card or something? I don't know what that is. A bookmark? And a cool sticker. All right. I love it. I love it. All right. We got some stuff on the side. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. These were also stuffed in the side there. And then these must be the spec cards. I'm not really sure what this is, but I'm going to check them out. Not sure what this is, but this is kind of cool. It's got some weight to it. Now that I'm thinking about it, is this a Pog Slammer? Okay, this is that white envelope. Oh, this must be the reprints. I'm actually pretty excited about these. Oh, that's awesome. Awesome. Oh, man, that's so cool. And the main event. And yet another box. Whew, that was tough to pull out of there. I had it upside down. All right, the moment of truth. Oh, that's a beautiful display box. All right, so that was the full contents of the box. So let's break into the... I'm kind of scared to pull the wrap, but I'm going to do it for you guys. Got to show that, but that's the artwork on the side there. I love it. Oh, that is so cool. I got the wrong angle. Oh, man. Beautiful. That was just the plastic. I love it. And I got the Till All R1 version. So this is everything US and UK released in what is supposed to be the sequential reading order, which you know this channel is completely in love with. So let's say Merry Christmas, and I wish you all a happy holiday season, and hopefully you got one of these coming to your doorstep as well.